So, hey, thanks for hanging out again with us here on OK Movie Stream. And one of our absolute favorite people in the world is here today, Hannah Benson, who's starred now in a couple of our movies. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So you were one of the fun parts for us. We found you as you were an influencer. You were at a mall shopping and taking video or something, right? I'm just
I
kidding.
was like, what? No.
But you did do. Hannah sent in what would be a pretty unique to us. She kind of took a chance, stepped out on a limb, and sent her audition in, being completely different. What
I
what
did.
drove you to that? How did you decide that's your character you were going to portray?
I was actually really nervous when I sent that in. So I read it and I could tell that it was supposed to be my character getting my best friend out of like a bad date situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to think what I would do because I'm kind of goofy and silly. So I was like, if I was rescuing my friend, I'd want to make it fun.
Yeah.
So I put together this ridiculous accent and I didn't even know what it was. It was like British, maybe a little Australian, a little bit of everything kind of thrown into one. And I filmed it and I sent the audition in and I heard from my agent that she told me that you wanted to meet with me and I was like, oh my gosh, I have disgraced his work. He's gonna hate it. And I'm so glad you guys thought it was funny because it was just more fun. And I was always taught like in classes, just take risks and have fun. And I feel like I did and it worked out. So
Yeah,
that's
it's great you did because we, it's when you're watching so many and you see so many people, and then one like that pops up, and you think, oh gosh, I'm not going to have to force her to be goofy, and
Yay.
to be fun, and a lot of times some actors will, they're hesitant because they still have that. They're still human, and you don't want to be embarrassed. Most people don't, but the one that can take and have such range, from being serious to being fun and goofy
Yeah.
is what we like to find anyway, because some of our movies I try to write comedy and even our serious stuff. And so it was great to see that. And then the funnier thing was the woman who plays this is all in Heaven's Date. So and it's a scene, as you mentioned, that you're helping your best friend get out of a bad date situation. And the one who plays Chef Mama, she did the same thing as you. She did a character like out, like way out there, just to show us, what she was
She
capable
was
of doing.
hilarious.
And for the fun of it, we'll show a little bit of it too, is that we cut your auditions together
Cool.
and watched you do the lines against
Look,
each other.
we're not a real restaurant, so we don't need a real food service license.
Not a real restaurant, eh? This looks like real food to me. These look like real patrons to me.
We're just family. We're pretending this is a restaurant so my baby, little Eric, can impress his girlfriend on our first date.
Little Eric. Chef Mama, are you telling me that Eric...
Yes, Eric is a mama's boy.
Good grief. We've got to put an end to this right now. Which one's your son?
Oh, it's good for you, Chef Mama. I showed up when I did. Do you have any idea who that woman is?
Yeah, it's my son's date.
No. That's Julie, the toxicological assassin. She's wanted in over a dozen counties for spreading her vile concoctions in restaurants all throughout the state, all while ruining the businesses in the process.
Oh, my word.
She even tried to poison her last boyfriend.
Oh.
Now that would be upsetting to Kyle because we cut his performance out.
He thinks that he is the reason that I booked the job. I let him think it, but whatever.
Kyle is her now fiance, boyfriend at the time, and and he, as a lot of folks do when they now many auditions come in that they've been taped, and he was playing the other part, the Chef Mama part.
He was Chef Mama.
That was pretty fun for him, huh?
Yeah, he goes back and forth. He helps me with a lot of auditions, so it's fun when he gets to play like guys that are a lot like him because he just kind of reads it.
Uh-huh.
But when he's playing like 45-year-old women, he's kind of like, should I do a voice? And I'm like, no, just like do your thing. But he's really supportive about all of it, and he does a really good job of like trying to get into it, even though he's not on camera. Because like I like to get worked up into the scene and really feel like it's kind of happening. So
Right.
he'll have to raise his voice or get quiet and nervous. And he is not an actor, but you wouldn't know it because he's really good. So,
Well, we'll talk more about Kyle here in a minute. But what about you? Where did you grow up?
so I grew up in Milwaukee, Oregon. It's like 15 minutes outside of Portland.
Okay, and from there, you got how long were you there? Like your entire youth? Or?
Yeah, so I was born there, and then I went through all my education up until high school. And then when I graduated, I knew that I wanted to pursue theater, and I was a serious homebody, so I didn't really like to go out and do stuff. So I was like, well, I have to go to school out of state, or else I'm never going to be able to travel for work. So I applied to only colleges that were out of state, which was super out of my comfort zone, but I'm really glad I did it. And I actually did a Google search to see like the top unknown theater schools so that I could get some stage time, but also like get a really good education at the same time.
Yeah.
And the University of Tulsa popped up, and I applied, and I got accepted, and I went for it. So
You must have had pretty good grades because they have a pretty high standard.
I did. I was a really good student. Maybe I don't want to say too good, but I put in a lot of time studying. So my brothers were both really good at school too. So we just focused a lot.
So in Milwaukee, is that where they called cheeseheads there?
No, maybe.
Is that Milwaukee? I don't know. I
I
thought.
know. I know they have the
No,
Milwaukee
that's
Mustangs.
Brewers.
Oh yeah, they have
Green Bay, Wisconsin is the cheeseheads,
yes.
and yeah, Milwaukee is the Brewers. And
Yeah, that makes more sense. We got all kinds of beers and stuff.
what did your parents do there?
Yeah, so my dad and his parents own a rug cleaning business together.
Rug
and
cleaning?
It's called Raybert's, and they've been working on that. My grandpa kind of founded it with his friend when my dad was really, really little.
Mhm.
And then my dad ended up working there when he was in high school and just liked the family aspect. And so he stayed there. And then my mom was a teacher for a really, really long time. And she actually just retired last year so that she could help take care of my niece. And
Yeah.
now she's working at Raybert's as well.
So, did you do any work there at the carpet cleaning business?
I did sometimes. I was more like a fill-in almost. They
Uh-huh.
have an office area. So my brothers would be on the floor like lifting rugs and actually doing the manual labor, and I was answering phones in the office. And I was like, "Hi, how can I direct your call?" And I would do that in the summers sometimes, or say like I need a little extra cash. My dad was really cool about helping out with that.
So you never thought that would be somewhere you'd end up?
No, I mean, I thought it was cool, but I am not built for desk jobs. I
Yeah.
like to get up and move and can't do the same thing day after day after day. It's really hard for me.
Yeah,
So
you have a ton of energy.
I know I'm like struggling to sit still. I don't know if you can tell.
But we loved that when we were on set.
Yeah.
We had Lydia on a couple of shows ago too, and I was talking to her about when we were shooting that. I learned a lot about when you put a room full of women together, and we had, I think it was six of
Yeah,
the
6 or 7 of us.
yeah, and how you guys would just be like nonstop chattering, and then we'd say action, and I'd say, okay, do what you were just doing,
I
and then
know.
you'd be like really quiet.
I was just thinking about that because I was like, the idea of all of us being in the same room, and I mean, as like actors, we're all friends. We all like each other. We can just converse and talk and talk and talk. And then the second you call action, we're like, okay, be professional. Everybody needs to be quiet, behave. And now I'm like, that's not what you're looking for. It's just funny how we do
you were
that.
singing, and you did some flip floppy.
Yeah, I did the worm.
You did the work.
It's been a minute since I did that, but that was fun.
As all of you were kind of doing, I think Alona was really into the challenges, and
She
she was
was.
having you guys do challenges like
Mhm.
what's that one where you're like on your arms, the
Planking.
planking.
Yeah, the plank one.
She loved that one and talked about the other ones, and you guys it was a really great time, but it was like, okay,
We had to put on our serious faces
Uh-huh.
for our comedy show. We learned, you were like, guys, why do you keep doing that? And we were like, you're so right. Let's just have fun. And I mean, it was always fun, but
Yeah, it was. But had you known anyone from that
I had met Lisa. She was actually on the very first commercial I ever did.
Uh,
She was one of the principals, and I was in the background, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like she's so talented." And then when she was cast in the film with me, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm working with a real like woo, oh my gosh." So I had known her, but just very briefly. And then I also
she's
worked.
another one that you can't sit still for very
I
long.
know, but we get along like that because
Yeah,
we're both like super buzzy, bubbly.
yeah.
But so I knew her, and then I knew Lydia because we had also worked on a different commercial together. But I knew Lydia a little bit better because we both played nurses in something, and it
Hmm.
was just we had more time together. But
When
yeah,
you were growing up in Milwaukee, when did it start to strike you that you wanted to be a
yeah.
talent?
So I was actually thinking about this earlier, and when I was really little in elementary school, we had this group that would come every Christmas, and they would like do little songs and have silly little outfits and be all dressy, and they would perform the Grinch, and they were called the Choraleers, and they were at the high school.
Hmm.
And I remember every time they come to my elementary school, I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cool. Like, I want to do that. So I knew I wanted to be a choraleer, but I was really shy. So I was like, I don't know if I want people to like know it's me or like see me. And then I did some church stuff, and I always thought I was going to be a teacher, just like my mom. And then it was my sophomore year of high school. I took a dance class, and if you took this dance class, you were automatically in the school musical.
Uh-huh.
So that's exactly why I did it, and it was Footloose, and that was like my first real theater experience. And literally first rehearsal, I was like, Mom, this is what I'm doing. And she was like, are you sure? She's very supportive, but she was like, it's gonna be really hard. And I was like, this is it, feels right. And
Yeah, that was
that
one of the
day,
things that Stephanie, she was in the scene as one of the church group folks
yeah,
that
yeah.
she said she was in a school thing and
Hmm.
and then when everybody started clapping, she knew that she never wanted to hear that noise stop,
Yes, I want to set that as my ringtone. It just feels good.
So, what did your mom teach?
She actually taught third grade. Well, she taught kindergarten for a while, and then she switched into third grade. And her main one was actually middle school health.
Did you have her and were you in her class
I
or
was not.
was
She was in a
she?
different, not district totally, but just like a different group. She was, when I was really little, a sub, and she would come substitute at my classes. And I remember I was in first grade, and my teacher took a leave of absence, and my mom was like our primary sub. And
Uh-huh.
I never knew if I should call her Mrs. Benson or Mom. And I was 6, so I was like, Mom, Mrs. Mom. Like, I just didn't know. And she was so cool about it. But yeah, I never had her like full time, which
Uh,
was good, I
that's
think.
fun. That's fun. So when you were looking at different schools, what made you pick Tulsa?
So I actually applied to a couple, not a lot. I should have applied to a lot more. I was so nervous about leaving home that applying stressed me out a lot that I was
Right.
like, I have to leave home, so I have to do it. So I applied there and then another school in New York, and I got accepted into both of them, which was awesome. But I was like, it's a lot less scary to go halfway across the country than
Right.
all the way.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And my mom and I went and we toured the university, and I was like, it's really pretty. And she was like, it is. And I was like, I think we're doing it. And yeah, I got a scholarship too, which was very helpful. So
Yeah, no kidding. Did you find Tulsa to be something that thought you could? I mean, how big a difference in where you grew up in
yeah,
the
I mean,
cities?
it was different. I mean, I came from the city just with Portland, but Portland city style is very different. It's not as safe. It's a little more out there. So being able to actually go downtown in Tulsa and not be like scared, that was really nice. And then I remember it was the day that my mom and I got off the plane and we went to our hotel when we were going to tour the university. And there was a guy who held the elevator door open for us.
Uh-huh.
Nobody does that in Oregon. Like, it's not that people are mean. It's just the Southern hospitality was here. So everybody was like, he was
Right.
holding the door. And we were like, oh, thank you so much. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And then he let us get off first. And my mom and I were both like, is this normal? Like, so nice. So just like the people and yeah.
Yeah, I went to school in Austin.
Okay.
So for me, people would ask, what's it like go to a big university like that, 40,000 students at
wild
the
to me.
time, and I'd tell them, well, it's kind of like, you know, 40,000 kids' parents went out of town and left their checkbooks. That's what it
Ooh,
was like,
just a
and
party.
it was kind of, but it was still a lot of work and hard. And
Yeah, it's still school.
yeah, it's still school, but you have to. It was a lot of fun, and it was just a different. When you go from being 18, growing up, and
Mhm.
where I grew up wasn't large city, but it was near Houston,
Okay.
so it was near big cities and that big city kind of life that. But when you do, because I was afraid, I didn't go out of state, and I had aspired like you, I think, to try to do other things and maybe have to work out of state. But I one time thought about going out to LA, and I thought, well, what am I gonna do when I get there?
Yeah.
Am I gonna work at McDonald's? I don't know
Definitely just
anybody, so where am I gonna stay? It's not like I knew family that I could sleep on the couch or in the
No, it's
garage or something,
scary.
Yeah, and so it is kind of scary. But you came here, got a scholarship.
Mhm.
What did you like first about being here?
I mean, obviously the people were awesome. I remember I went to the bookstore to buy my books for school, and the kid who checked me out ended up being a theater major.
Oh, wow.
And immediately I had a friend, and it was crazy. Like, I did not expect that. And it was one of those things where we were talking, and they were like, you have no idea how much time we're going to spend together, kind of thing. Because it was such a small group. Like, there might have been 15. So we ended up being like best friends, and we still talk and everything. So it's really just the people for me. I love the people and on it, like the theater community. And
Well, you
just,
said you were shy at first.
I was.
I don't see that
know.
like at all.
I grew out of it.
You grew out of it.
Yeah. It was mostly when I was little and like in elementary school. I have a twin brother. So I grew up kind of bossing him around, but I would also hide behind him. So like if
Uh,
anybody had a question, I'd be like, Jimmy, go, and like shove him forward. But if he decided he wanted to make a snake out of his Play-Doh, I was like, that is unacceptable. It has to be a ball kind of thing. So I was stubborn. I still am. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of decided maybe it might even have been after high school, beginning of college, that I just didn't care anymore. I was going to have fun. I was going to be who I was. And I'm super chatty, so I'm not hiding it anymore.
and you told us you used to do some track too when
I
you were in
did. I did some
school.
track. Not a ton. I did mostly soccer and basketball,
Hmm.
but I did try pole vault and I did hurdles and high jump. So I was a jumper.
And what got you away from it? Do you still like to run or?
I run sometimes. I try to run a mile a day, but I have been slacking because I've been tired.
Yeah.
But I do like to run like that. I don't do distance or anything crazy like that. That's just kind of, it's more for fun exercise. And then I got out of it because I found theater and I wanted to do every single show. And we did 4 shows a year. So if I wanted to do every single show, then I had to kind of pick one or the other.
Was
'Cause
this
our-
in high school?
Yeah, this was high school because our rehearsals were always at the same time as our practices. And yeah, I don't know. And when I was doing the musicals, I still got to exercise with dance and everything. So I felt like I was still doing both. But
Right.
I'm a theater girl. I had to go that way.
What was the theater action like at the university?
The university was pretty good. It was still pretty small, but we did a lot of big known shows. So they did Rocky Horror, they did Man of La Mancha. Hair was actually my first show there ever. And then we also did some smaller stuff, like a Sam Shepard tribute and some absurdist stuff, even some stuff that local people wrote. And then we brought them in and we did like a workshop almost. So I
Nice.
felt like we had a really good variety of opportunities.
What
Yeah.
role did you play, whether it was high school or college, that gave you like thought I could do this for a living?
Okay. I remember it was my senior year of high school, and I got cast as Frenchie in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time that I had people that I did not know coming up to me after the show and being like, wow, you really did that well. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I had a voice, and people thought that I had like a mic on that was like changing my voice. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, no, I was just kind of winging it. Obviously, I wasn't winging it. I practiced, but you know,
Right,
play it
right,
off.
right.
So probably that would be the first time that I was like, wow, people are acknowledging that like I could actually do this.
Uh-huh.
Because before, I mean, it's my mom, and my mom's always going to tell me I'm great because she's
Right.
my mom. So I was
Yeah.
like, thanks, mom. But when you get people that you don't know, like I think our school janitor came up to me one day and was like, wow, did you play Frenchie? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what's your name? And I was like, I'm Hannah. But he knew me as Frenchie. So I was
Uh-huh.
like, that was the first time that I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I could do it.
Did your parents support you right away, or was that one?
They did. They were really cool about it. So my granny actually was probably my biggest supporter.
Mhm.
Once she found out that I was interested in theater and actually pursuing an acting career, she got me tickets to every single show she could find. And for
Wow.
Christmas, she'd get me a season ticket and we'd go to every single one that year. And then when I got to school, I would like dedicate all my stuff to her. I think I even like tried to get a little line in the movie
Yeah,
for
you
her.
did. Yeah.
And yeah, so her, my mom, and my dad, they were all super, super supportive. Even like my other grandparents. I don't think I have anyone that's not supportive in my life. So I got really lucky.
Yeah, I had to tell my parents that I was getting another degree in marketing so that they would feel okay with what I was doing.
I did double major. I had theater and education because growing up, I always thought I'd be a teacher. So I was like, I can always fall back on it. And then
Mhm.
deep down, secretly, I kind of always wanted to be a marriage counselor. So that's always been back here. I'm like, just in case. But my other brother kind of went the med route. So I was like, you can have that.
Good to
I'll stick
know.
with
Good
the
to know. In
arts.
case we need, a marriage
Yeah.
counselor in
I
the
love
movie.
helping out with the issues.
We did have one fun. Do you know Nicole? Nicole was in.
yeah, Nicole Miller.
Yeah, she was in another one of our movies where she had marriage counseling with the preacher at the church, and it was a really funny scene.
She's hilarious. I thought that was funny.
Landry Miller, who's another stand-up
Okay, yeah, I know
comic.
that name.
He's in that with her. As it turned out, we had them play husband and wife.
Oh
You
my
know, and,
gosh, they were hilarious.
yeah, they were really. I mean, she like storms off and runs the wrong way to get out of the building, and then you see her come back, and it was
Still
really
mad,
fun.
but has to get out of there.
Yeah,
I love it.
crying. "Ah!" So it was pretty
That's
hilarious.
awesome.
So when how did you and Kyle meet?
So Kyle and I actually met online, which I did not want to meet online. I had actually lost a bet, so I had to download the app for a week, and somehow I met him.
Uh-huh.
And he already lived in Arkansas at that point, but his family was in Oklahoma, and I actually went to TU with his cousin. So we met. He kept trying to hang out, but I was like, "You're a scary internet guy. I don't know about that." And then I was out downtown with my friend, and he showed up, and we had been talking. It wasn't creepy that he showed up.
Uh-huh.
So he asked me if I wanted to go to a party with him the next night, and I was like, I'm sorry, I already have plans, but he was cute. He looked like his picture. He was nice.
Right.
And then it turns out the party that I was going to was his cousin's party,
Oh.
and he was also going.
Uh-huh.
And then just kind of happened.
Kind of, yeah. My wife, we met online.
Yeah,
and
see, it's
and
just kinda,
Nicholas and his wife met online.
they did too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's not bad.
happens.
I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I always and it's part of like one of my mindset when I was writing the movie was one of my best friends. She owns a matchmaking company, and we shot
Oh,
there.
actually,
Yeah, she
that was
that
okay.
was that's her. But she has like I don't know 16 locations all over the country, and
Cool.
yeah, and so I helped her with a lot of marketing at one point, and learning about the matchmaking process. A lot of things that I would see go on, and people trying to find love the wrong way, or wanting profiles that were no, you're not going to get that,
Yeah.
and people always wanting what they can't have,
Mhm.
and as we looked at those two characters that you guys played, it's some of what I learned through that, and then my
Cool.
dating process as well. And
Yeah.
so it's for you. How do you feel like when you were playing Sarah? What of that character did you have to find outside of yourself, and how much of it was you?
I had to find a lot of it. I loved playing Sarah. That was probably one of my favorite roles ever. But she's so different than me. I personally am not a serial dater.
Mhm.
She dated anybody and everybody that she could find because a girl's got to eat, I think was one of her lines. And I don't know. I've had a couple relationships, but I was always more of like a long-term kind of thing. So I
Mhm.
never really dated around. I also like to think that I'm a little bit nicer than Sarah. She had a mean streak. She was a little aggressive, but I had
I
so much
wouldn't
fun
call
with
her
that.
mean so much as maybe a tiny bit selfish.
Yeah, she was definitely that. It was more yeah, she wasn't mean. She was just she was feisty.
Yeah,
She could go from 0 to 100 like that and
right.
not even care.
And those were the kind of the differences between the Julie and Sarah characters,
Mhm.
was that Julie was to be the more sensitive, wanted the long-term, yearned for that long-term relationship,
Yeah.
and was sad that she couldn't find it. And Sarah was more, when it comes along, but in the meantime, I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah. I'm more like Julie in my real life of like,
Uh-huh.
I wanted to find my person. It's not that I didn't want to put the effort in because that sounds bad, but I didn't want to date and date and date and date and date and just find like reason after reason not to be with people.
Yeah.
So I did a couple serious relationships. I found what I was looking for, what things didn't work for me. And then when I met Kyle, I was like, check, check, check.
Yeah, when
All
my
the
dating
boxes.
process was a little different because I thought, and I always told my kids when they were growing up, was that you don't feel like you have to marry everybody you go out with.
Hmm.
And it was partly because when I was younger, I think it was my parents met when they were in the 6th or 7th grade
Oh my gosh.
and dated on and off all the way until they married.
Okay.
And so when I got to the 6th grade and I didn't meet and I didn't have anybody,
That was the
I
end.
thought I was never going to have anybody, and
That's adorable.
and there was one girl that I had like a crush on forever, and I was constantly making myself available for her, but passing on other, really wonderful people that
Yeah.
came into my life. And so then I realized that, don't wait for
Mhm.
that wrong person, be on the lookout for things that you are compatible with.
Yeah, just be open to the idea of that maybe that's not your person.
Right.
'Cause how do you know?
And everyone you go out with doesn't have to end up being
Mhm.
someone you date. It can just end up being a great friend. And
Yeah.
and I was the kind of one of those guys that probably had just as many girlfriends as I had guy friends.
Yeah.
And
I probably have more guy friends just because I grew up with brothers.
yeah. And so it was more about dating to me didn't become because maybe I went out with somebody because she liked to bowl, and another one because
Yeah.
she liked movies, and another one because she liked dancing. But when I found the person that liked all those things at the same
Boom.
time, boom,
Mhm.
there we were. It worked out great. And so or it was supposed to. It didn't so much the first time, but
But
like,
second time you
yeah.
nailed it.
yeah, nailed it. And so Kyle was great too for us because you want to tell that story
Yeah,
about
Kyle's
me.
a little lifesaver.
Yeah.
I don't even know how this happened because I'm usually so on top of it, and I make sure that I had jewelry and I had photos of every single outfit that I wore, and I knew that those earrings went with those shorts and that tank top. And then I get set and you're like, hey, where's your outfit for Thursdays? And I was like, wait, what? And I knew that I needed it, but I did not pack it. So I called Kyle, and bless Kyle because he lets me take his car because his car is a little bit nicer. So I drive that because it's 2 hours from where we live to where we were shooting. And I called him and I was like, hey, can you do me the biggest favor ever? And I think it was like a Tuesday, like in middle of the work week. I did not expect him to actually be able to do it. And he dropped everything. He went to the closet. He found the shirt that I needed, the pants that I needed, all of the earrings and the necklaces and the rings and the shoes. And he hopped in the car, my car, not even his nice car, my car. And he drove straight to set. And he walked in.
Which is like a 2.
It was like, 2.5 hours at that point, I think. And I could not believe it. But he showed up. He had everything. I
Yeah.
think we all clapped when he walked in.
Yeah.
And he is, again, not a performer. So he was like, oh my gosh, like, you're welcome. Thank you. And we were like, hey, do you want to hang out? And he was like, no, I got to get out of here. But yeah, he did that. And then we lucked out because it was his mom's birthday. And she lives up here too. So he was able to go spend some time with her.
Yeah.
But I could not believe that he did that. He's
That was awesome.
super
That
supportive.
was really great. Yeah, and everybody, I think Lydia was telling us that he's pretty funny too.
He's hilarious. Yes. He's a different kind of funny. He's the kind of funny where he is so unapologetically Kyle that whatever he says, he means it. It's not dry humor, but he means it, and it's hilarious. I can't even think of an example. He's just it's so uniquely Kyle. I can't fake it.
And one of my favorite things that you did when we were shooting the movie, because we had planned this and talked about it, and that Lydia knew it was coming, was the guacamole scene.
Yes.
And we, the goal was to you'd force her head into the guacamole and it'd be all over her, and then then you guys could get out, and
Yeah.
because you were arresting her, in the movie Heaven's Date, and then you did it twice.
I know, but I didn't know I did it twice. I remember she did it for herself. I just had my hand kind of like on her head, and
Yeah.
then she was in charge of moving, and I didn't feel her move, so I was like, I did it again, and she was already down there, and I think at that point I got it all up in her hair,
Yeah, you
and it was authentic.
and it's so classic is her look.
Oh, I know. She
so-
could not believe that I did that. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that I did that because I would never have done that. So it was funny. That was pretty
Maybe
good.
there's just a mean side in you didn't.
It's deep down.
Yeah, it's deep in
Feisty.
there.
Not mean, feisty. Mhm.
Then in the next movie, how different do you think in Holy Flicks,
Yeah.
which we're still not certain that's going to be the title yet, but
Okay.
it's pretty close. Might be Ghost Uncle. We're not sure. So
Okay.
it's between those. So in Holy Flicks, you play a different character.
I did, yes.
And really kind of a different age spectrum too.
Mm-hmm.
So what what did you feel is different from those two characters? And
Yeah, so I tried really hard to make them very different because there's a lot of times when people are performing that I feel like you have one character that you fit into, and I wanted to do everything I could to fit into as many characters as I want to.
Mhm.
So I remember when
Sorry.
I found out, so I had done Sarah already. She was established. I had found out that you had another one, and Paige was another option. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want Paige to be like Sarah,
Right.
other than the way she looks, because, well,
Yeah, I can't do much.
that is what it is. And with Sarah, I was super, super girly. I was super like into the jewelry and makeup. And then with Paige, it was very much more tomboy, just very relaxed. She was still funny and confident, but she was very much more behind the scenes than like front of the stage, I guess you could
Mhm.
say. So I liked to do that, and I liked the age difference because with Sarah, I was playing older than I am,
Right.
but with Paige, I was playing a little younger than I am.
Yeah.
And since I've already been younger, I was able to know like, hey, this was me in high school. This is how I would have reacted. But I was able to like be grown up a little bit more about my choices that I made,
Mhm.
and I was able to focus more on the exciting and like fun stuff than when I was actually a teenager. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I have homework, I have this, I have that. Whereas just in this, I was like, know your lines, and you're friends with the boy that you're pretending to date, so just have fun. And it was good.
I think for me, I think when I think about the two characters and the way almost Sarah was almost Paige grown up.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that she, except, the difference would be that Paige had a steady guy that
Mhm.
she probably was going to end up with, and whereas Sarah probably didn't,
Yeah.
and might have, and got her heart broken, and
Mhm.
decided that throughout, the next 8 years of her life, she was just going to not let anyone ever get through to her.
I can
real
definitely
side.
see Paige being kind of like the baby bird where she's just never been hurt. She's never seen anything bad. And then she goes through all of these things, and then say something were to happen between her and Levi. You get Sarah because she's like, I am going to put myself first because I have to.
Because I think you both had the same comic personalities, and looked at things and could make them fun and funny.
Mhm.
But you could definitely tell that Sarah had been there, done that, and then Paige was more, like, just, I can't wait to get out in life and make it happen.
She was a
And
baby.
yeah, and just everything looked great and exciting, and she had so much she wanted to accomplish and nail down, and
Mhm.
nothing was going to stop her. And
Yeah.
and you captured both of them, I think, pretty easily, and made it a lot of fun.
I had fun with both. Very different kinds of fun. It was weird because, again, I when I was doing it, I didn't think Sarah was anything like me. But with Paige, I was like, this girl's me back in the day. Like, I totally got it. So it was really fun being able to show two sides of the same coin.
So have you have you ever done a live audition? Because I know one thing I noticed that when you sent the recording, and I asked to get to visit with you, and usually because you were living out of state, or still do, and in Arkansas, and you couldn't come in. We like for people to come in because one thing, we are working on a tight budget on all of our projects, and we try to make it as much fun as possible. And we don't we've had once or twice where the actor may not have been as
Uh-oh.
fun with everybody else, and that made it, you know, because we're working hard when we're working on those days.
Mhm.
Everybody is, and
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to get upset at anyone else. And I've heard horror stories where, when an actor has a difficulty with their lines, the other actor gets mad, and then it
Mhm.
kind of messes up the whole, the what we're trying to capture then. And so that's why we like to talk. And then because you did. When we were, talking on Zoom, you did have a kind of like, why do you want to talk to me?
I thought you
kinda
were
look.
mad at me for using an accent. I was like, oh my gosh. But actually, so I don't want to say Heaven's Gate was my first film audition, but it was my first bigger film that I've actually worked on. Up until then, I had only done stage stuff. So
Mhm.
all of my auditions were in person.
Right.
I never
yeah.
had any kind of film or anything. So I was very used to doing monologues and like kind of playing off myself. But being able to film it, I had more chances to get it right, which I
Yeah.
really liked. But then once we all got in here and we all started working, there was a little bit of improv to it with like your physicality and everything. So I prefer to audition in person now because you get that in the moment like you just it's different, and like it's there and then it's gone, and you have an audience and everyone in the room is able to be there and be a part of it and see it. And then with film, it's either, oh, I didn't like that take, delete it, or oh, that was great. But with in person, that's what you get.
Yeah, my early career in film when I was an actor was, most of my auditions happened in Dallas or Austin, Houston, and yeah, I'd walk into a room and there would be 20 guys that looked just like me.
Yep.
And then you go do the read, and then the people would say, "Oh, hey, that was awesome. That's great. Thanks so much."
And yeah.
And you'd feel like you might have got it, but then you never heard back.
Yep.
And I always hated that, and I really wanted. I like the live things because I can say, "Hey, can you do it like this? Hey, try
Yeah.
this." So then I give you a real opportunity to win the role, and that's what we. Plus, it gets to be fun, and we get to know each other.
Yeah,
and-
I like being in person because you get an idea of what the director's actually looking for. Because when you send out a tape and you're like, yeah, I nailed that, you never hear back, you're like, what was wrong? Like,
Yeah.
I thought I had that. And I mean, again, you can't take things personally in this business just because, like you said, 20 people that look just like you don't know what they're looking for. You just kind of got to give it your best and see what happens. But when you are in person, you can play off the director. And if they're like, hey, can you try it? Maybe like tone it down. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Or like,
Can
pick
you
it
do
up.
an accent that doesn't have any real connection to any country?
I can. I learned that. But if people would have asked me before, I'd have been like, I don't know. So it's just depends on the day.
That was just one of my favorite scenes ever.
That was so much fun.
I loved that.
I'm so glad that was the audition scene, because if I wouldn't have done that, I really don't know how things would have gone. I don't know.
Well, I knew that was going to be the scene that was the most challenging and took the most effort, and I wanted it to be the audition so I could see what people would bring to it,
That was good. I remember we were shooting it at home with Kyle, and he was like, Hannah, you are getting these lines so jumbled up. And I was like, but the feeling is coming through. And I think the one that we finally sent in might have had a couple like words off and stuff. And Kyle was so nervous. He was like, are you sure you want to send it? And I was like, this is it. That's it.
Well, with our projects, I realize that we are, if we get the essence of the lines, is what's most important, because we don't do a table read, we don't
Yeah.
have rehearsals, and we might get to shoot at the lines 3 or 4 times, and it's really important that the line is exactly right. I will make you do it right, or ask you. Sorry, I didn't mean to say.
Yeah, we
make
had
you.
some scripture and stuff that we had to get those right because you're quoting stuff. So I
Yeah,
mean, sometimes you gotta get it 100%.
Or like the scene where you and Brian are in the car, and it's the moment that's creating
Yeah,
the first opportunity for 2 people to realize that they
might have
care.
something.
Yeah, and those lines had to be, they had to work. They had to play off each other, and so, of course, that was frustrating for everybody because it was probably 104 degrees
It
outside.
was hot.
Yeah, and we had to turn the air conditioner off. So
And then
the
we
audio-
forgot to turn it back on, and then we forgot to turn it off, and then we had to reshoot. And
Yeah.
whew, yeah.
And then some of the lines weren't, and so but when we cut it all together, even though we had to piece it out, it turned out real. I mean, like even the whole room was like, oh,
it was so quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
yeah, it was crazy. Those are my favorite times, though, are the premieres and getting everyone there and seeing the reactions.
I had so much fun at the premiere, and my entire family came to see it, and they're already asking me about the next one, and I'm like, December maybe.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, but it's also weird because I was there when we shot almost all of the scenes. I mean, if they were scenes with just Julie's character, I wasn't there. So when you actually go to the premiere, that's the first time any of us saw it all put together.
Right.
That was awesome. We got to see the whole storyline. I mean, we knew it, but being able to see it and how it actually came together is a really cool experience.
By the time the premiere happens, we've seen it, Lib, like 20 times?
You guys are sick of it.
More than that.
But it's probably different seeing everyone's reaction to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It tells us a lot, and we've learned a lot in the process, because initially when we first did a few, we would watch people's reactions and we'd say, oh, this is too long. The first one, we took like 15 minutes out of it.
Oh, wow.
Because we just felt like that they weren't, it just moved faster, and we didn't need this or that for the end result. And then we had another one that we thought was too long,
Oh.
and we thought, well, let's just see the reaction so we can figure out what to take out, and nobody they laughed at everything, and
There was nothing to take
yeah,
out.
when would Jesus return, and we just couldn't think to take it out, but
Yeah.
it's still 2 hours long, and so it's so you learn a lot about how people are going to react to stuff,
Yeah.
and Heaven's Date, we didn't take anything out of it. I don't think
I don't think so.
there might have been little pieces, but not any.
I may have watched it a few times. It's so much fun for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great, and it's great that it's out there on Amazon and some few other places, and we have it on OK Movie Stream, and so I can't wait to get this next one out. And you said you and Lydia are working together again.
We are. We have a commercial shoot on Monday and Tuesday, and we are playing best friends. And I was like, oh, wow, it's like a little reunion. And then when Lisa told me she was on it too, I was like, it's really a reunion. Like, we're all going to get back together, and we're just going out for a girls' day. We're going to have a spa day. So it's
Nice.
going to be perfect.
Yeah, and that's what's pretty exciting too, is when you get people together who may have met
Mhm.
or not, and then you spend as many days as we usually spend. I think we shoot 16 to 20 days.
Yeah.
And in that time, you guys
We are
became
together.
instant friends, and and everybody was like, just so great together and so much fun, and and I know you guys have to watch the movie because it
It's
turned
cute.
out great, and
It's really cute.
you were awesome. You sing too? Is that what?
If I have to. I try not to. I took choir classes. Like, I can do it if I need to, but it does not bring me as much joy as acting. So.
Yeah. Anything else that you accomplishing doing right now that we should?
Just more auditions, planning a wedding.
Oh, that's
been
right. Yeah.
taking up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's just as soon as I get something big done, like find a florist, the next thing, and I'm like, oh, I got more. I got to do the next thing. So now I'm on catering, and we got to find a DJ, and I love it. Again, I'm only going to do it once, so I want to make it fun and I want to do it right. But it's definitely
Did he surprise you when he popped the question?
kind of. It was funny because I kind of ruined the moment because I didn't know it was coming. I was down in the car and he was taking me to my favorite restaurant because we just needed a night out. It was right before the premiere, so it was right before all of my family was in town. His family was going to be around, so he was like, "We're just going to go out, have a night." And I was sitting in the car and he said, "Oh, I forgot my wallet. I'm going to run upstairs." And he was upstairs for just long enough that I was kind of like, okay. Something might be up. And I knew he had a ring. I knew it, but I didn't know when I was going to get to see it.
Right.
And then we went out to dinner. Nothing happened. I was like, okay, cool. We went and we saw A Christmas Carol. And it was funny because one of my professors, who was actually a director of mine in another show, was in it. And we
Mhm.
had no idea.
Oh,
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. We know him. And then it didn't happen there. And I think that's because I wanted to talk to the guy that I knew in the show. So I kind of ruined that. And I was like, my bad. And then I was like, you want to go anywhere else or just home? And he was like, we can go home. And I had to go to the bathroom so bad when we got back that I ran past all of the flowers that he had set up. He had some wine. He had the ring. Ran right past it. No idea. And he was like, Hannah. And I was like, what? And he was like, seriously? And I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And he was like, I can't tell if you're messing with me or not. And I was like, what do you mean? So I walked back to him and I was facing him and he was like, turn around. And I turn around and there's all set up. And I only saw the flowers at first and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I saw the wine and then I saw the ring and I was like, wait, it's happening. It's happening. And I turned back around and he's down on one knee and he just puts it on my finger. He doesn't say a word, stands up. And I was like, oh, wait, no. You gotta ask. So then he does, and he was very sweet. And I was like, well, duh, obviously. Because, I mean, at that point, I feel like when you get to the point that you're gonna ask, you kind of already know.
yeah.
And he's my person. He knows it. So,
And you held it all that time?
it's like the second I saw the ring, I forgot. I totally forgot. And then afterwards, I was like, I am so sorry. I just ruined this beautiful moment you had planned. But then at the same time, that's so us that I was like, whatever.
But you still had to go to the restroom, right?
Yeah, eventually, After I had the ring and I was like, okay, cool, this is happening. Okay, I'm gonna go. And then I came back and then we called everybody. I was like, okay, hi, Mom. Like,
Yeah, my wife did. We went and picked out the ring.
oh, you picked it out together?
Yeah, and then they were resizing it and doing stuff to it, and I said, okay, you can't come back because if you can't bring your daughter over here,
Show
or
her
any
the
of the
ring. Yeah.
kids, and show them the ring because then you'll have an idea
Mhm.
if I picked it up or not, and when it's going to happen, and then she goes, I won't, I promise, and
But then she's thinking about it.
well, the after I had planned the big, we got engaged at a Drillers game, and I did the whole thing on the mic and the whole,
That's so cute.
and her daughter, I'm getting things for it to surprise her, and her daughter, I bump into her middle daughter. I bump into her at the store, and she says, "Oh, mom
Uh-oh.
showed me the ring, and it's so
No.
exciting." Really, did she? Now, did she? So that was the first lie of our relationship,
Sorry, now
and I
stop.
went home and I said, "You haven't gone?" Like, no, I didn't. But
She was just excited.
she had, luckily, the person we bought it from, I knew fairly well, and they told her that it wasn't there yet. It was it was
okay.
still being done. But
That was smart.
yeah,
That was smart. She's gonna wear it for the rest of her life. She's just excited.
yeah, I guess so. Since then I've rebuilt it and did different.
Oh, got it
stuff to
redone a little bit.
Yeah.
I get you.
So congratulations,
Thank you.
good luck. Oh, forgot we get give you our T-shirt for being on the show.
Oh, cute.
And
Thank you.
we look forward to, working with you again
Yeah,
because
I'm
we
excited.
loved having you and you do such a great job. And be looking for Hannah on Heaven's Date and soon to be Holy Flicks or Ghost Uncle. We'll figure out what it's going to be, and many, many more things that I know you're going to star in before too long.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Awesome.